I think one of the other major issues that we're coming to terms with is our extraordinary disconnection from each other, from our ecosystems, from community, the world at large, and I think from our true selves at some level. We've created a very artificial world. We wake up in one box, our house, we get into another box, our car, and we drive to another box, our office. And then we spend our day in front of various boxes, computers, televisions, iPods, cell phones. And we're living in this virtual world that at one level seems to give us a certain level of happiness, but I think it's a level of happiness more associated with an addiction than actually genuine happiness. And I think what we've gained in convenience and speed and instant gratification, we've lost perhaps in our deeper need for quiet, for connection, for meaning, for relationships. And I find it tragic that we spend so little time in nature, we spend so little time being quiet. We're almost frightened that if we stop for a moment, if we stay still, if we stay quiet, we might be missing out on something. I think it's bad in all generations, but I feel particularly younger people now who are literally on the cell phone or texting or on Twitter or on the computer all day, literally cannot bear to be alone, cannot bear to stop for a moment. And it's only when you stop, it's only when you're still, that you really can connect to the world around us. Eckhart Tolle wrote a wonderful book called The Power of Now. And you know, since Buddha, many great philosophers, spiritual leaders, thinkers and psychologists have shown that genuine, real happiness comes from that connection to the present moment, that connection to nature, that connection to ourselves, to stillness. And until we can re-establish that connection, I think we're going to be in serious trouble. And perhaps the most dangerous effect of this disconnection is our disconnection from nature. You know, the average food that comes to our table travels thousands of miles. We're eating foods completely out of season. Everything we do is damaging for the environment pretty much. The way we work, the way we eat, the way we travel, the way we live in our homes. We've created this, again, this artificial world that we share the hubris that we're somehow beyond and above nature, when in fact we will be paying the price very soon. I mean, climate change is, I believe, the greatest threat facing humanity. And the tragedy again is that, yes, we're going through a recession, but 99% of our angst, our concerns are economic, yet we're forgetting that every day climate change gets worse. Every day we reach a point, literally, of no return. It's entirely possible that this planet could be virtually uninhabitable within our grandchildren's lifetime, if not our children's. And we're going at a faster rate than anyone thought we would be. And until we can actually accept that this is a human problem, and that the human problem really lies in these underlying beliefs and assumptions and values that we have, until we can accept that, it's almost impossible for us to change. I've always believed that the environmental crisis is not a crisis, a scientific crisis or a technological crisis. It's a crisis of the human spirit. It's a crisis of our disconnection from nature and our disconnection from the legacy that we're going to leave, the terrible legacy we're going to leave. I recall I forget the name now, but there was a Native American tribe that everything they did was based on what was good for the 7th generation ahead of them. The whole of their society was predicated and built on looking after future generations. You know, wouldn't that be incredible if we could live that way now, rather than this obsessive focus on self-absorption, selfishness and immediate gratification? We've gone so far the other way, and because we're technologically advanced, we make this mistake of thinking we're spiritually advanced, where in fact we're adolescent, if not pre-adolescent, in our beliefs. I think the recession at the moment is a fascinating very traumatic but fascinating event that's taking place, because I think it could lead to any number of changes. And I think one of the changes it could bring about is increasing, maybe involuntary at the first place, but increasing the number of people who are downshifting, the number of people who are looking for an alternative. I think one of the characteristics of human nature is we very rarely change until we're forced to. And when you have a shock to the economy like this recession and potentially depression is, it forces people to change. We very rarely change when things are going well. We habituate, we get used to it, and we carry on. But when we lose our jobs, when we leave our homes, when the money runs out, it forces us to wake up and really make some very hard decisions. And what's interesting is, I think a lot of people have been traumatized by this. A lot of people are going to be suffering. But I think also a lot of people are going to be changing the way they live, changing the way they think, and deciding that never again do they want to have, big mortgages, lots of investments, live on credit, and be working 90 hours a week just to pay for all this stuff. And instead, they're looking to downshift. They're looking to get back to the basics of what is really important in their lives. And it's all about living simply. It's all about spending more time with family, friends, doing what gives you pleasure rather than what seeking status, for example. And I think that the recession is going to lead to, I think hundreds of thousands of people and families across this country and other parts of the world will be looking for something new, will be looking to return to the values that characterised this country 100 years ago. And I find that what's fascinating is this is a terrible time for the economy, but it could be the best event that's happened for our environment, because we could not carry on the way we were. It doesn't matter how much you're earning or what your stock prices are doing or what your 401k is doing, if we're actually destroying the planet that supports life, if we're degrading the air and the water and the animal kingdom and the natural resources so badly that our planet becomes unsustainable, then it means nothing how much your shares are worth, your stocks are worth. So I think this is an interesting wake-up call for us all right now.